What's up, YouTube? Homegrown Big coming at you again with another Eat Meat, Drink Water vlog. Today is January 14th, 2019. I am 2 weeks into World Carnivore Month and 1 week into strict OMAD. So, since January 1st, I am down 6 pounds. I'm looking a little leaner, a little gaunter, and the inflammation that went with that is something I'm going to talk about here in just a minute. So I don't weigh that much, so 6 pounds is a lot for me. For somebody who's obese or fat, 6 pounds might be just water weight, but for me, I had already been doing intermittent fasting and keto this year, and so 6 pounds is actually a fair amount. I feel really excellent and not quite how I thought I was going to feel. So OMAD, this week, a little bit challenging here and there. People had some questions about that. You doing cardio? What about lifting? Yada yada. So I do cardio in the form of high intensity training. So kettlebells, burpees, CrossFit style working out. And that is heavily cardio. Anybody who thinks that lifting can't be cardio and only jogging is cardio is not lifting right. And I have done 5 workouts this week, including 1 4-hour-long walk. So very active. I did have a couple of moments where I felt a little tanked, but I would just push through and drink water and just take a little longer set break, and I was able to get through it just fine. I had one day, I think 2 days into it, where I felt like I was doing some major changing over into energy systems. Coming out of that, I felt really, really good this week on OMAD. I had an intense clarity at work that I haven't really experienced before, and I noticed that it was very different from my coworkers. You know, I work with people who are chugging energy drinks and quad frappuccino whatever's all day and eating food out of the vending machines and ordering crap in from Domino's and Jimmy John's and all this kind of shit. And their emotions and stress are also all over the place, and their energy. They're spiked up, they're freaking out, they're dropping down. You know, it's really like they lack stability. And I just felt real clear and lucid and able to respond to my high stress environment with perfect easiness. So I really, really liked that aspect of OMAD. Well, I'll just keep experimenting on with it. I don't really feel like I have that much more to say about it after 1 week. As far as like high performance lifting and OMAD, if you're looking to get gains in the gym, I don't think you're going to be doing Carnivore OMAD. That's just my take on it. If you want quick gains, you know, maybe over time you can get to your goals, but I think, you know, you'd want something more like the vertical diet, where you're going to have a little bit of easy to assimilate carbs like white rice or boiled carrots, and that's going to help volumize your muscles. It's going to give you more energy in the gym. It's going to allow you to get gains faster. And that's, you know, maybe one of the reasons why heavily supplemented vegan OMAD kind of mixes up some interesting elements, because you're getting a lot of that glycogen that really helps restore muscles and give you energy. And then you're getting, you know, the preformed nutrition with the heavy supplementation elixirs. So for Carnivore OMAD, you know, I was already this week easing off on fat a little bit and bringing up a bit more dairy and a bit more lean meat for gluconeogenesis. So we'll see how this next week goes. I'll report back to you on my thoughts and findings. Now, let's talk about eliminating to carnivore. So Two reasons why I wanted to try eliminating to carnivore. One, experiential learning, which is something I've already talked about. But two, and this is something that I've known was going on for a while, but this week I got tests back that kind of confirmed some symptoms that I was having for years that kind of started me off on dietary experiment and looking for ways to optimize my genotype. And that's, I have a genotype that specifically does not get rid of histamines at the same rate as other people. So really slow at removing histamines out of my body. Turns out my mother has the same thing, and I would say most likely my grandmother did as well. She had really bad psoriasis, arthritis. I have other family members with psoriasis, and although I haven't had the skin eruptions, I do sometimes get just maybe like it would be starting on my elbows, but I've never had the really bad skin problems that some people with psoriasis have. I have had the systemic inflammation. And when that started up and I was diagnosed with arthritis when I was younger, that's when I first got into trying raw veganism. And this goes to elimination diets and why they work. So going to fruitarianism, eliminating down to this really restricted diet, all of the inflammation went out of my body. I thought it was a miracle cure. Like, I was really so excited because I felt really awesome and loose in my body in the way that I hadn't since I was a child. Also at that time, I was really convinced that it was animal products. Fast forward, been through the stories, fruitarianism on a nutritional level just didn't sustain me. Tried veganism, also did not. Doing carnivorism right now, and for those of you that are just checking in, I'm not super strict. I don't really want to have hard rules like that, but I'm about 97-98% carnivore right now. This last weekend I had some kimchi and some sauces that had plant bases in them. But highly restricted, and most of my meals are just meat, dairy, eggs, water, and I'm having a very similar reaction where the systemic inflammation is just melting away and I'm feeling really loose in my body. And I think this has to do with the histamines and the capacity or incapacity to clear those out, and that when you eliminate, when you have restrictive eating, you're bringing in less of the causes of histamine buildup. So it's very interesting to me. Coming out of the holidays, and as I've said on holidays before, that I don't really have rules, that I eat whatever and I enjoy my time with my people, but I could feel at the end of the holidays, I could just feel my hands starting to just get stiffer and stiffer. And that's normally like how I feel when I'm ramping up into, having a real inflammation flare. So can this type of elimination be healthy and sustainable long term? Well, we'll find out. I feel like at this point, the initial results are enough to intrigue me to want to find out. And I think the whole idea of making sure you've got preformed nutrition and nutrition density is a lot easier on carnivore than it is something like fruitarianism. And I think that's why so many people are turning to carnivorism over some of the raw veganism. So if you're eating organ meats, if you're eating good fats, if you're eating some seafood, some oysters, some good quality fatty cuts, and you're making sure you're getting the spectrum of nutrition, you're eating some raw meats with some cooked, and getting that variety, pretty good setup for success, I think. Initial response, you have to understand at any time you're doing heavy elimination that you always have the risk for a lack of full spectrum nutrition. That's a reality. So 2-week check-in, that's where I'm at, feeling awesome. Check out some foods from this week. We'll talk to you next time.